Hey everyone, this is Modern Randy. I am Randy. Here to bring you today another deck. This one is a modern deck. I know it's been a minute since I've kind of talked about this, but I thought I'd talk about the new breakout deck here we have with Asmo Food. Basically getting a couple new tools, a couple new upgrades, and really just breaking out of the format. So anybody who's unfamiliar with this deck or unfamiliar with how Asmo and such works. So Asmo here, as you can see, as long as you discard a card this turn, it only costs one black or one red to cast. She is a 3/3, and then whenever you, or not whenever, I guess once she enters battlefield, you can search your library for a card named the Underworld Cookbook, which lets you, discard a card, create a food token, they can pay 4 and sacrifice it, and return a card from your graveyard to your hand. But whenever you can also sacrifice 2 foods to deal 6 damage to any creature to itself. So she's a pretty good removal spell if you have a bunch of food lying around. So we're playing that with Obel Chase Daredevil. Basically, this is like kind of your engine to make food. So Obel Chase says that whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may return it from your graveyard to your hand. So if you have Daredevil and Cookbook, you can discard a card with the Cookbook, discard Obel Chase Daredevil, make a food. Obel Chase Daredevil triggers, goes back to your hand. Now you're not actually losing anything to make a food. But we are combining this with the card called Outbreak. So Outbreak is a relatively new card. Let's you look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them. Put that card from among them. If that card is 2 or less, it's go onto the battlefield and gains haste. Otherwise, it gets put into your hand. So as you see, we have a bunch of different cards to hit. We have Asmo, Entei, Ragavan, Tarmogoyf, and Tiefling Wormlet. So kind of just like another value 1-drop here. Basically has Death Touch as long as we control 3 or more artifacts, which we should always be doing that. And then whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under our control, we gain 1 life. And then if it's the first time this has happened this turn, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. So if you have 2 cookbooks going, you can make a food in your turn, give this guy a +1/+1. Then you can then activate the other cookbook on your opponent's turn, give it another +1/+1, kind of like make it big and annoying to deal with. But excuse me. Basically, what we're trying to do here is just create a value board, so to say. So we have Entei to allow us to, whenever we discard a card, we get to exile the top card of our library and can cast it. So with that going, with the cookbook value and Overchase Daredevil value, we have Streetway to cycle, so we can get Asmo out faster, along with working with our 2-drops here. And then of course we are on Urza's Saga deck because it allows us to grab our cookbooks, grabs our 1 Shadow Spear here in the main, and also just kind of makes big constructs that are annoying to deal with. But this is kind of like this small low to the ground package deck. We've seen Asmo food decks kind of come in and out of popularity. They've always kind of been in the modern meta, but no one's really broken it or made it to where like, hey, this is consistently doing well. It always seems like they kind of come up, come down. So this is what's the new flavor of Asmo going around currently. I think it's really fun and interesting. It looks kind of fun to play. It's probably something I'm going to be trying out. I do have a modern tournament coming up here in about a week or 2, depending as I can when this video comes out. But it is something I've been trying to figure out. What I want to play in the modern formats. But it's super fun, or it looks super fun at least. I'm a big sucker for the Urza Saga decks. I love playing them. I ended up buying them really early on because I was like, oh, I'm going to just jam this card as long as it's in modern. And then I got stuck on Rhinos and was doing super well with it and it was hard to put it back down. But anyway, I do think this deck is something that's fun to play. It looks fun to play. It looks interesting. It looks like it has a lot of value, a lot of late game grinding. So one problem I have with this deck, and the problem I see with this deck, is I don't know how you necessarily deal with like a turn 2 Scion with the new Leyline out. I don't know how how well this deck can erase that. Which, I mean, makes sense considering that we are playing 4 Pick Your Poison in the sideboard here. So obviously, this card's been picking up a whole bunch of popularity, mainly just because of being able to sacrifice enchantments or creatures with flying has been a huge thing for this card. Since everyone is running 4 Leylines, 4 Scions, this is not surprising at all. But then they're also running a little bit more removal, and on Holy Heat, we also have our 3-card package here for our Urza Saga, we have Graveyard Hate, Pithing Needle, all around good card, and Haywire Might. Also running 2 Veil Summers here for more of the control slash just discard effects, and Endurance as our other main way of hitting the graveyard decks. We have the Goryo's Vengeance deck that keeps popping up and doing well. Definitely want to have to make sure you have some kind of game plan for that deck. Also helps with Pick Your Poison, being able to get rid of a creature with flying. Not exactly what your best idea, because they're still getting value from it, obviously. And then we have another Passeju here in case we run into any problematic artifacts. The one Emrakul, I'm guessing, is probably just because of Mill. Mill always seems to be somewhat popular on Magic Online. I'm not sure why people always like to just jam Mill, but you'll see that constantly throughout leagues and challenges and stuff. People are always trying to make that work. Obviously, if you're going to pick this deck up in paper and go to any kind of tournament or anything like that, you probably don't need this Emrakul. You can probably pick a different 15th card slot. This was just a list I kind of snagged from a challenge, so that's my guess on why the Emrakul's there, just because of that mill deck that always likes to run around here in Magic Online. But yeah, this is like an interesting little take on the Asmo food. The breakout deck, or sorry, the breakout card is definitely kind of helping you get there, because I know notably this card lets you get any of your creatures you can hit too, right? So like even if you hit like your Ovaltase Daredevil, you're not stuck with not being able to get it. Because I will say one of the biggest problems I had with playing a lot of food decks and trying to figure them out and trying to make them well is that you'll get your Asmo out, or you'll have an Underworld Cookbook going, but you don't have your Ovaltase Daredevil. So this lets you dig 6 cards deeper just to get that, because you want that in your hand. You don't want this card in play. If you're casting Ovaltase Daredevil, you're either winning the game by thousands of miles, or you are in a desperation mode of like, hey man, you are a 4/2 that says block. Hopefully we're not dying. But I do like this. I like the look of this deck. I definitely think I'm going to end up running it through a league or two. Very fun looking. It looks exactly like kind of what I want to do in Modern. I want to play Urza Saga. I want to make big constructs. I want to be making food with Asmo, and I want to be just getting infinite value with my 2/2s. But this is kind of what I plan to do from more on. I want to do some more of these deck techs, so if you like that, if you like looking out, seeing what kind of is going on in the formats of Modern, Pioneer, and possibly a little bit of Standard, I know we got that Pro Tour coming up. Go ahead and give me a like, give me a follow, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Feel free to leave comments if there's any decks you want to see me talk about or anything you want to see me do. Basically just getting back into YouTube and trying to get my whole channel going again. So feel free to leave any kind of comments you want to. Also, I do a podcast with Crawdaddy23, also known as Dakota. And I do a podcast, comes out every Saturday. Feel free to check that out. I'll put a link down in the description. But otherwise, I will see you guys next time.